there. So just bear with me again. Good morning, everyone on YouTube there. I've got Facebook Live, I've got YouTube Live. So everybody's getting the email with the link that they can click, and more people will join us there. I know the regulars, I've got it's up to 70 regulars here that support each other there, and 4 newcomers. Well, 5 actually. And Karen, I can always count on you, Karen. I love that you're here. Good morning, Karen. She's a regular, and what I ask is that uh, I like to be able to introduce people, the newer people there, and I know all your medications. So if you want to be a regular, hi Jackie, good morning. Here, welcome to our 2 hours of a week every Tuesday, and Cynthia's here. Cynthia's in the house. Good morning, Cynthia. We have Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 to 12. We, even though we talk about MS and as symptoms, it's the least likely time we suffer. There's no suffering. There's only joy. I got a big announcement that I'm gonna let you know, because too many of you have been leaning on me to write a book, and every time I go to the gym, somebody says to me, you need to write a book. And I heard it yesterday, I heard it the day before, but somebody I really respect, a brilliant person, said asked me to write a book, and I said, I care more about what others say. And being an author or writing hi Marcia, hi Susan, Jane from Coeur d'Alene, I love that. All right, so writing a book, especially a self-help book, assumes a certain amount of narcissism, that you believe that you have something more value to say than the people who subscribe. And early on, many of you know, when I started doing YouTube videos about 10 years ago, I used to think I had the solution there, and life had. Hi Tim, I'm glad you're here. Tim's in the house there. So you know what, this is our regular class there. So all right, this person who is brilliant said to me, he says, it's not that you would tell people how to handle MS, because I don't have solutions. You guys know that. But what am I good at? And what can I write a book on? How to handle life. It's how to use MS to reinvent your life, uh, to be better than it ever was before. And because I said to this gentleman, I deal with people who have just been diagnosed with MS, and I deal with so much, or you guys interact with me, and you've had MS for so long, that I can honestly say early on, hi Nadine, Jersey's in the house. All right, Nadine, I love that. I love that. Anyway, so much of that, you think the first 5 years you end up crying, uh, uh, crying about the future, the dreams, the ideas that being, for me, it was being a career woman, making thousands of dollars, being rich, and all, and that dream ended there. Tim, you got to jump. Well, Tim, you're on both YouTube and Facebook there, so you can jump back and forth. Tim, when you can jump over here. Hi, Kim. You know what, Kim, you are a blessing. You're another. You know what, you guys said that. So what I wanted to say is, this gentleman said that And I said, so much of our life we have planned in the future to be great business people, great athletes, great wives, great moms, great, we were going to be great. And then all of a sudden we lost so much, and I often say, uh, uh, what diamonds are only diamonds because of the pressure, right? And you learn humility. Arrogant people learn humility through loss, right? And most people, you see, a lot of seniors will admit they've been through loss. They lost their family. They lost so much in life because nothing ever lasts there. That they have matured to be likable people. Well, when we are diagnosed with MS at a young age, there or at any age, we get our ticket. We have a ticket to become beautiful people. Now it's like a prism. Now we got a prism. We can hold up to the light and have it separate and see the different colors of the rainbow. And you know, therefore, what I'm saying, that everybody who's been newly diagnosed, you cry for the first 5 years because you deserve to mourn. But what happens the next 5 years after that? You swear you have the cure. The arrogance becomes a little different. I've got the cure. You need to exercise. You need a diet. You write books. You're arrogant. Well, and I'm saying that this is what I have noticed the progression to be, right? Well, what happens after 10 years? After 10 years, you have been you've had losses. You've maybe lost your career, maybe lost your marriage, maybe lost your bladder. You have visited too many situations of loss and disappointments there that I learned to laugh, and I learned to think, you know what, it redefined everything. And you'll see with the progression I had uh, over my videos there, I finally surrendered. I finally surrendered a number of years ago to say, I don't know. I don't know. And I'm too young to have that attitude. My favorite, my girlfriend gave me a bumper sticker uh, because it's my mantra, and it says, "Don't believe everything you think," and I question that. So, but I often say to people who at the gym, they come up to me and say, "You're amazing. You're amazing." Somebody wanted to hug me, and I said, but they were afraid of this COVID. They were afraid of me being on chemo, the rituximab, which isn't really chemo; it's monoclonal antibody. But Daniel's in the house. There, one of the things that I say is that anybody who has had MS for a long time slowly recognizes that we aren't special because we have this crutch, this crutch. I'd say this infliction, like Paul says in the Bible, this affliction. This is our affliction made given to it because God knew we'd be better with this. There, other people, and I've talked to a number of people who've lost children there, and to drug death, to just different deaths. And I visited and autistic children and all, and I talked to them, and I said to the mothers especially, I said, you tell me you wouldn't trade everything. You wouldn't get a good case of cancer or multiple sclerosis. You'd even sign on to Lou Gehrig's disease if it would bring your kid back. It's amazing, and now you get these wonderful people look at you and say, you're right. Of course they don't know how bad it could get. But the good thing is that we can laugh. Yeah, and I love that. Nadine says, I always laugh at myself. Yeah, and you know what? There is therapy in laughing. And I told this person who just doesn't understand how I can laugh like you, Nadine, and how I can say no. You know what? I go to the gym because they're sick people. There are people who walk better than me, and but they don't know how to handle situations. They're panicked, and that's what we have. And I tell them, I tell these healthy people. The people who subscribe to this channel and join us in this live chat there, uh, I would say 90% of anybody who's had MS over 10 years will tell you that MS has been a blessing. It's not why they came to God. It's, they had God before them, because the big misnomer is that we go, a lot of us with MS go to God because we come to Christ. We come because we need Christ in our life. We have a cry. We have pain, and that's not true. It is not true. Uh, uh, we had that seed of faith in us, and we learn how to nurture it there, and it is great. But Jane just said laughter is the best medicine there, and if we can laugh and we can, one of the greatest things I will tell you is my husband has this wonderful way of he listens to what other people say. Yeah, he's got a lot to say, but he listens to them, and when they say something, he'll say, did you hear what you just said? And he'll get people laughing at themselves. And these people don't have MS. Even if they do have MS, they have other problems there. It's a look. He's taught me a lot about listening to people there. And if we listen to people, well, with other people who are listeners, uh, uh, you can joke with them. Hopefully, they don't take themselves too seriously. But yeah, it's true. So I am going to. All right, Jackie. Jackie said something there that Daniel liked, and I am going to. Uh, all right, and then let's see. Daniel said something Jackie liked there, so I don't know, but I can't talk more than I read and tell you what each other is saying, or tell Facebook people what YouTube people are saying, because again, I'm only your host. I'm your host there. You guys are the stars. You guys have so much more to input. And I know, I'm thinking of you, Daniel, who lives in Pittsburgh, and Susan, are you Susan, and Lisa, Brandon, Joe, and Debbie. You guys are you guys subscribe, so you have the link. Uh, you know what? Susan just said it great. She always felt something was wrong with her. And she was relieved that it wasn't me, but a disease. And I'll say the opposite, Susan. I'll say always knew something was wrong with me. And it wasn't the disease. When I got diagnosed with the disease, it wasn't the disease. It's how I looked at life. Do you recognize that people with MS, what do we have in common? And I started looking at uh, personalities that we had in common. What do we have in common? We tend to beat ourselves up. We tend to hold ourselves at a higher standard with knowledge, with getting things done. with productivity, with just getting things right. We're perfectionists, even though we often fail. And when we fail, we're our biggest critic. It's, I think about all of the conversations you've had in life, at work, or with your spouse, or with a friend. And then people with MS are those that go home and think about it over and over and over again, what they should have said, what they, yeah, and you think about that. And there's a saying that I learned from a wonderful, wonderful woman. And one of what she said is, "How empty of me to be so full of you." And it's true. How empty of us to ruin our lives thinking about how we can do something better, how we can walk better, how we can. I mean, it's good. A certain amount of that's good, but it's not good when it ruins our life, it keeps us up at night. It distresses us. It causes stress in us. It's not a good thing to live by. It just, people with MS tend to be, uh, I have experienced there, uh, really hard on themselves there. And you think about MS as an autoimmune disease, it's our body beating up on ourselves. Well, isn't that congruent? Isn't that exactly what we do to ourselves? Our mind beats up on ourselves there. So Azuka, she's all the way from Bosnia there, and she's watching from Bosnia there, and Tim is watching from Ukraine. So it is so wonderful to have people from around the world tuning in there. All right, we got Jane did an upside down smiley face. She mentioned that she is obsessive compulsive, AC, and she also calls it ACDC. And all right, and Daniel's talking about medical marijuana. That is, I can't do medical marijuana, even though a lot of people say it works for them. I can't do that. I mean, Daniel, how does that work as far as your brain fog? I don't know. In the early '80s, I smoked a lot of weed there, and I don't do that anymore. Last night I had a cold beer, and that was just, it was so wonderful because it was so hot last night, and I had some people over, and we played a trivia. I asked questions and all, and the chickens are saying hi there. That Zelda, she's gonna kick some butt, but yeah. And so brain cog fog. All right, we've branched off to medical marijuana. Enough of me. There. Okay, medical marijuana. What about cog fog? Gina, Gina's in the house. Gina is, you've taught me so much, Gina. Uh, uh, hey, chickens, Silkies. There. Cynthia says hi. You know what? I had to bring one here, and of course I got to be willing to have her. Maybe I'll put a diaper on her, and yeah, yeah. That is, they're getting used to each other. They're territorial. Chickens are very territorial there, and these are older girls that are dominating the younger girls and boys there, and we'll see what happens with that. But then again, how important is it? There's another thing. You don't have to attend every argument you've been invited to. My husband and I were sitting on the couch, and he heard a bang, right, and jumping up. He jumped up and he says, "Oh my gosh, it's a strange noise in the house. What is it?" And I was totally relaxed. And I said, it's the ice cube maker. It was in the kitchen, and I'm betting it was an ice cube that fell out of the ice cube maker onto the floor in the kitchen there. And he got up, just he's the man of the house to make sure we're safe there. And he comes in with an ice cube in his hand. He says, "You were right." And I just early on, I'm just thinking that might have upset me so much. Not anymore. I too that very little upsets me. It's like, okay, it's probably an ice cube, even if it's something. Let me tell you what I did yesterday. Yesterday I was feeding the dogs in the morning, and I have a cleaning lady that comes every 2 weeks and basically disinfects my house, and I need that, right, because it's hard to get down. So I took some bacon fat and I put like a teaspoon in the golden retrievers, if I don't have anything else. And his food, his kibble there, along with strawberry husk. I give him some fruits and veggies there, and a little. So I took this giant jar of bacon fat and I went to carried it across the kitchen floor. I dropped the whole thing, and it poured all over the kitchen floor there. It just, does that surprise anybody? Does that I mean, dropsy. Anybody who's had MS for a while, that you drop and you create a mess, right? And I used to call my husband, and now I look at it as an exercise. I pulled out the garbage pail, got the paper towels. I just get more and more bacon fat into the trash can. Keep the dogs out of the kitchen because they want to come and clean the floor there. And I spread soap all over the floor and I flooded it. And it's terrible. All I can think of is how clean the kitchen is before I cook anything or before I carry something across the floor or until I pull something out of the refrigerator. That's true. And Gina, what I used to say is that I will take off. Remember, the toothpaste used to have a screw top, and what I used to do early on, I used to take it off, and I dropped it all the time. And to do an exercise in overcoming a frustration of the inevitable is I'd unscrew the toothpaste cover and all right, this is the on YouTube, the connection's unstable. All right, now it's back on. But it's dropsy. I call it dropsy. Dropsy happens there. I drop everything. Every once in a while, I drop my whole purse upside down, and it's because it wasn't zipped. The only reason why the only reason why the bacon fat went all over is because the top wasn't screwed on perfectly. It was jelly jar tops. They had a jelly top there. So it's not a matter if you're going to drop something; it's when you're going to drop something. And especially with me, I see my left hand is painted on. My left side is painted on for symmetry. There. But you know what, Susan, it's wonderful. And Nadine and Cynthia, Cynthia talks about dropping a whole plate of spaghetti pasta sauce. I do that if I carry dinner. And there's a saying: if I carry dinner from the kitchen someplace else, there's more of a chance of it falling over. And if you wear white outfit, it's 100%. You're gonna pour it down the front of you. Richard's in the house. Hi, Richard. Richard's like family to me, so it's so good to see you. It's good to see you, Richard. By the way, got your emails. I just I haven't had the time to respond there. Let's see. So, all right, I was talking about dropping things there. If we drop things, uh, it, it's good for to count it as exercise, right? Every time we drop something, it's a opportunity to us to hey, just 1 minute. Hey, girls, stop it, stop it. I've got trained chickens, unbelievable. But anyway, it's an opportunity to stretch our hamstring. Hey. All right, they obviously want to be in the show. All right. Well, those of you know I have chickens, I have dogs, I have fish, I have flowers. I am attention deficit disorder, so I need to be amused. I have multi areas. But if you drop something like I had something to trim the deadheads off of the flowers that have already bloomed to there. And I kept leaving it in different areas. And then when I grabbed the pruners, I would drop them. And every time they were, yeah, Daniel speaks chicken because he just over here. You know what? And you, Zuka, you speak chicken too, because I'm amused. Daniel says it sounds pissed off. That is a cackling chicken, and they do make that sound when they're dropping eggs there. And I just saw on Facebook Marketplace somebody was selling egg permanent egg containers that said, and it says that was really funny. I just got laid. I thought that was funny. I just got laid, and then they're eggs. They're eggs. So and more as you know what Tim's talking about MS and depression. All right, what and this is talking what happens. Depression is real, is real with MS there. So a lot of us, what can we do when we have depression? Chat over here, and Zuka, if you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. There you can read because your English is outstanding. That you know your Europeans are much better at being multilingual than we Americans. No, but bouts of depression are they're absolutely real. There, what can we do? There's medication. There's antidepressants. If we can't seem to pick ourselves up, and there's gratitude lists. There's this book that I'm in the process of writing. I figured out how to do it, and I know I confidence is high there. So it is going to help us all redefine the process of redefining your life in a better way because you have been given MS. You know, if Romans 8:28 says all things good and bad work together for good for those called according to His purpose. There, if that's true, and good things, then that doesn't mean that bad things don't happen to good people. You know, a death of a baby is a terrible thing. Uh, uh, MS is it's a terrible thing. It's a terrible, and what MS has done to you, Daniel, is terrible. And some of us are in bad shape there. But if we all have persons a purpose, if we all have purpose, then we are destined to find how the pressure of having this terrible thing that happened to us, like a death of a child, or some senseless situation, like falling. I fell. You guys know I fell. I broke my hand there, and I think it was about 5 weeks ago. So I'm not wearing my cast. Also, I didn't go back and get the X-ray like they wanted there, because I figured they didn't need a copay and I didn't need an X-ray to tell them, well, it looks better. It looks like it's healing. If I'm not wearing the cast, then it feels good enough there. So, but when I fell and my hand got caught in the walker and I'm lying there, my first thought is, why? What's the purpose of this senseless falling? Hi, Susan. Susan's with us. Yay. Julie, yeah, it's wonderful. You're with us there, and I don't have you as a regular, so you're gonna have to send me your let's see. Yeah, you're gonna have to send me your name. And Bonnie is here. And Bonnie, this is 2 weeks in a row, Bonnie. It's wonderful. Um, so anyway, so even though it's a senseless thing that happens, loss happens, unfair things happen to us all. And Maria's here. Maria's in the and Maria, I have you down as a regular there. So even though the these terrible things happen to us, we can use them to reinvent ourselves. I know of a gentleman who lost his son in a car accident suddenly. It was awful, awful, awful. But here is something that is wonderful. He chose to use that to start a ministry to help others who are grieving because of the loss of a child from a motor vehicle accident. The Mothers Against Drunk Driving was founded, a good thing. It was a tragic thing. A drunk driver killed somebody's child there, and they were able to create a entire movement, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. So just because something terrible has happened to you, MS is, I hate to say this, it's going to sound awful, is that even though it appears to be everything, it's such a small thing in our lives compared to our existence. Our existence. There's somebody who came to me and said, "Aren't you afraid of dying?" And I said, and I hugged him and said, "You know what? I would rather die of a hug than I would, uh, uh, than I would just having you know that you're not loved. I need you to feel loved by me." And part of the reason why is that I'm not afraid of death, because we all are going to die. If we die in 20 years from now, or if we die tomorrow, if we die from COVID, a car accident, or cardiac arrest, our entire existence doesn't matter until we recognize that we have a purpose in life, and our purpose can only be seen, actually, if we recognize the misery that is afflicting us is an opportunity to 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 reach out for beauty. It's a opportunity to get outside of our bodies, just to be in somebody else's world. I never knew how screwed up the world was until I got MS, and I actually thought that I got the problem. But as we were talking about, it's not the diagnosis that allowed me to see that I was sick. It was like the diagnosis happened to be, but I was able to see how sick my mind was there. And Donna, what that the program, uh, uh, God allows certain things to happen to your life, so you collect all the tools you need to deal with what life brings for you. And you know, Donna, because you've helped me out there, and it's uh, um, it is so much of a philosophy. It's so, and Gina says we all die, but not all of us live, and that is that that should be a bumper sticker. That is beautiful. We all die. You know what the saying is? No one gets out alive. So why are you fearing death? It just, or how about a coward dies 1,000 deaths? It just, and we know that when we're Christian, death has no sting. When you realize that, uh, I have a lot of people I'm related to that look up in the sky, and they see the vast universe, and they say, how can I be important to a God when He does all of this? And I said, what you see is so insignificant. To those of us have MS, and pay attention there. If you use a telescope, and doctors do this, and you realize how vast and endless, going into the ocean, going into the human body, going into a nerve, all of these things, they're, it's like, what about the one cell that gets your eyes, uh, uh, um, get your eyes seeing? What about the wasp nest that was building, paper wasp, they were building over there? Every day, I was watching wasps uh, go on the edge of the fountain, going down and getting a little drink of water. I mean, how is that not God? How is that? It's like we all need water. Every cell needs water. It just, and so as vast as the universe is, it just is vast as the inside of us is there. And humans, if we are created, it says we're created in God's image there, then why not? And it doesn't discount aliens. It doesn't discount, because they're out there. It doesn't discount ghosts. It doesn't, if anything, that bumper sticker that says "Don't believe everything you think." I used to have an opinion on all of this. Now I'm like, I laugh. My husband likes to come and tell me stuff. He's like, "Did you see in Texas they have on video five?" And he showed me. It was on YouTube. Five looks like spaceships flying around. He says, "What do you think about that?" And I laughed. So yeah. Why not? Why not? Why not? Okay, let's take the aliens out there. Then let's. I have a video. I have a show to host. There, it's the greater you see things you don't understand, and there's too much. There's too much that is on the news channel. There's too much. People, the hate in the world. There, we don't have to have an opinion. How important is it? Yeah, all right. We got the universe in Texas, and Jane talks about she goes out in the evening and watches. Jane is our resident UFO expert there because it's dark in Coeur d'Alene. So you go out. We all ought to have a field trip up to Coeur d'Alene there. Jane, do you have enough room for, say, 60 people to come and put 60 of us up, and we'll take our fatigue medication. We'll stay up all night. Thank you, Karen. Thanks for the time check there. All right, 11:40 there. So we can watch the UFOs. We can, if anybody ever read the book Revelation there, tell me that John wasn't looking at a UFO. Yeah, it's and what makes it so ethnocentric to think that we believe that they can't exist. The universe, the stars, the cells, isn't there a common link? I have to laugh. All right, Richard is dealing with calls, and he talks about, Richard, you're getting political. Love you dearly, but with this platform, you know where I stand politically. But what is more important is that I'm a Christian, and it doesn't matter if you're not a Christian. It doesn't matter if you believe differently than me. My goal is to hug you, is to make you feel the love you deserve and the comfort. My job is to allow you to feel there is a place you can go and you're accepted, uh, regardless of your race, of your religion, regardless. If you have MS and you need comfort, this is where you need to be, with each other there. So anything that is said that divides there, I'm gonna say, all right, okay. I love that, Richard. I love you have a opinion on this, and it's godly to pray for our enemies, but it's also godly to pray for the people who run the country there. So it doesn't matter whether you're Democrat or you're Republican, if you're black, white, Asian, Indian, whatever. It just doesn't matter. The fact is that you have MS, and we're used to fighting when we have MS, right? We're used to fighting, and sir, it's more important that we surrender the fight. Say a prayer for those who are in leader positions. I live in Maryland there, and it doesn't matter how you vote. It's one person's, and if you have an electoral college there, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And again, Jane will attest. You look at the aliens in Texas and Coeur d'Alene, you watch them, you read the Bible. I'm reading Jeremiah and Psalms there. You read that, Jeremiah 6:15, I believe, and Psalms 91. Read Psalms 91 and realize you're not of this world. If the minute you surrender it all, surrender. What they can't take from you. No, nobody can take from you what you're not willing to give them. And it helps you build self-esteem as well. It's there's, what is the saying? You can't insult me without my permission. Who has the permission to insult you? Who have you given it to? The problem is that we early on we give that out. Uh, uh, you know what? Again, Daniel keeps talking about. Uh, all right. Okay. Susan's asking about diets. Daniel's talking about marijuana, and Nadine is leaving us. There. Okay. Okay. Bye, Nadine. Let's see, Daniel. I know you keep talking about marijuana, but again, what works for some doesn't work for others. There and I live in chronic pain. I heard it's the flu-like symptoms that you got from interferons early on. They never went away with me. If I were to partake in medical marijuana of any kind, I perseverate. Perseverate means persevere. I get stuck in the thought and think, oh my gosh, I thought I was in pain. Now I am in pain. Now I know. Also, it adds to the cog fog. It adds to my dizziness. You forget, I can't do it. Other people, spasticity, it has been proven to help spasticity. Medical marijuana has, but no more than baclofen or tizidine, which also after a while you don't get sleepy taking it. So and it also, and medical marijuana gives you the munchies there, and allows you to, makes you eat not in your right mind. I don't like that. I like to be in control. Other people love it. It's an escape. I don't know. All right, let me see. The other question is diet. We've got, if you go to msfrontiers.org, there is an entire page dedicated to all my MS diets that people have tried and tell you will work there. My personal, I investigated each diet, and I can tell you about each diet. Their diet can make a difference how everybody feels, right? If anybody take your average person, get them off of, and they have a diet of nothing but pizza and Twinkies. There, all of a sudden you start feeding them fruits and vegetables and meat and no bread, and they start feeling good, right? So definitely, and supplements as well. If you have osteoporosis, taking calcium and lifting weights is critical there. Uh, and now, Susan, you just said it. Susan, you said, I know a diet can make a difference on how we feel. That's true. But Susan, I'm going to throw back on you. Uh, uh, what if uh, people with MS are told don't eat strawberries because strawberries are the root of all problems? There. Would you give up strawberries, or would you ask yourself, do strawberries make me feel bad? Each person has a different reaction to milk, or has a sensitivity. Uh, and they talk about sugar. And Karen just discussed about how sugar makes her feel like crap. And I got to tell you something. My big challenge was I'm a sugar addict. I stopped eating sugar for about 5 months. I did not eat any sugar, and people ask me, how did you feel? Well, I felt good about myself that I conquered a demon that was the control of sugar. But guess what? I didn't feel any better. Sugar, it destroys your immune system. I know what they say, but was it true for me? Did wheat, was I gluten intolerant? That's another thing. Organic foods, the chemicals they talk about, or organic foods is better to eat. It's better for everyone to eat. If you can afford to get strawberries that have not been sprayed with pesticides, that's even better. If you can afford to get grass fed, free range chicken eggs, to get it. Yeah, and same thing with beef or poultry. Some people only eat chicken and fish there, and they feel better with that. By the way, eating fish doesn't mean that you're eating chicken and only shellfish. Uh, uh, there's also studying fish. There's also mercury levels, everything, mercury levels in certain fish. So, everything is a briar patch tar baby. And what I mean by that is that in the story of the briar patch tar baby, yeah, it was somebody stuck their hand in the tar baby, and you'd use another hand to get it out, and that hand gets stuck in there, and then you put your foot up to get that out. Thank you, Karen, for the time check. You put your foot there and try to get that out. Before you know it, you're completely in there. So what, and another analogy is whack-a-mole. I've often said life is whack-a-mole, and deciding we're going to control MS by diet there is we have to do it as it applies to us, and it is suggested that you eliminate certain one food at a time and see how that makes you feel, and then reintroduce it and see how that makes you feel. So that's how you. All right, Susan, it is msfrontiers.org. MS. Can somebody type that in the chat there? What the and then it's diet nutrition is the so msfrontiers.org there. If you go to that website, it has the order. It's a website that was created for people with MS to figure out how they're going to manage it. Medications are there, that they're listed in order of effectiveness as far as holding back certain attacks. All of the diets, along with the links, are put right there. So you can find that out. Symptom management, medications used for symptoms. Thank you, Daniel. Daniel, God bless you. Thank you for putting that in there. It's a wonderful site there, and feel free to if you're on Facebook or if you're on YouTube to send a email if you would like to see certain things changed or added to the website there. You know what, Susan Hill, she says that she wishes there's a way to connect with others. The information I built Cynthia, I built the website, and at the bottom, because I used to have a business there, and I used to. I've had a lot of lifetimes there, and I'm very good at building websites there. I got the information there a lot from the MS Society, a lot from articles, all the anytime the diets come directly from the people who have websites, and there's website links, including, think about the Walls Protocol. She's got a website there, and you can, if when you're reading about the Walls Protocol and basically what it is there, you can click at msfrontiers.org. You can click on the Walls protocol, and it'll bring you to her site, and Terry Wall's site, and you can buy the book, or you can go down that. Uh, but that's a good, absolutely. You are welcome to go to that website and hold me to task. I spent a lot of time working on building that website there. But anyway, and the medications. You know what? Thank you, Cynthia. Cynthia says with me she would trust, but what I'm gonna say is God bless you for giving me that power, but I don't deserve it. You know what? I'm only as good as being held accountable of saying, well, cite your source there. So again, C.S. Lewis once said he'd never been to New York, but he believes New York exists because people he knew and respected had been there and described it to him. So he knew New York existed. In the same way we can believe in God, in the same way, Cynthia, I think you believe uh, what I'm saying is true. However, I will say that I used to trust sources. Example, my husband, sweet guy. Every once in a while he comes and he tells me something that he reads there, and I trust him the way C.S. Lewis trusted his friends that said New York existed there. And sometimes I have spread misinformation because I haven't fact checked him. I haven't researched. You know, I will test my own theories. I don't believe everything I think. I will risk being wrong. And look at the other sides of the issues. But I, I, I fail in that if somebody tells me something is true and I love and I believe that person enough, sometimes I don't fact check them. But I've changed recently because somebody I really respected sent me something so outrageous that was wrong that even though I believe I can believe a good 75% of what is said, that person, it's taught me that I need to fact check that. And Cynthia, please, I invite you to fact check anything I say, or I ask, are you sure what you just said is correct? And I will always say, not 100%. How can you be sure? How can you be sure that the aliens are not angels? How can you be sure? It just, it's crazy. All right. Just all right. Here we go. What works for you? And I know we're coming to an end there. And I had something else I wanted to say there, and I can't think. The body thing. I will say that the longer you find the minds of people with MS and you interact with them, the more you can be out. Like I go to the gym almost every day there, and I carry around MS Frontiers cards there to hand people. That card that you can see people with MS by the way they walk. People end up knowing you, and when they hear of people with MS who have just been diagnosed, they'll come to you and say that they'll you need to talk to Dulci. These are great things. These are great opportunities. Cynthia, people with MS are all around you there. Uh, just ask God to lift up the hay so you can see them. there. But I will warn you, be very careful. Be very careful to ask God to lift up the haze so that you can serve there, because I asked, and look, this is my job now. But I love you, and Karen, it is probably the top of the hour. There, it is. It is. All right. So what I'm going to say is go to msfrontiers.org and look at the resources for people with MS. Uh, uh, for people, there's chat rooms. There's all this stuff that is so critical for all of us to see. There, please subscribe. Go to YouTube if you're not on YouTube and you haven't participated in the chat there. It just is wonderful. If you're new, relatively new here, and you want to be on the list of regulars, I ask that at some point you type or email me or message me your name, age, type of MS you have, where you live, and the medication you're on. Therefore, I can introduce you. Anyway, I love you. May the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, keep our hearts and minds on Christ Jesus. Also, may God bless you and keep you. May He shine His face upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up His countenance upon you and give you His peace. If we love each other and forget what's going on in the world and know we're called for a purpose there, each one of you helped each other and helped me. There, for 1 hour today, we didn't have MS. Even though we talked about it, we didn't have it. And we felt great. And I didn't need to take a painkiller because I didn't have any pain. I love you all. And I will see you on Tuesday. And thank you so much. Bye. All right, this is going to take me, it's always fun to end. All right, let me finish